Hello, it's me again. How's it going? We're going to be playing Timespinner. Do you want to explain what Timespinner is really quick?
I'm not going to give the last explanation I did, but Timespinner is very similar to Castlevania. It's a Metroidvania game involving time travel, and it's really good. If you're thinking about Castlevania, think of Symphony of the Night and Order of Ecclesia in the way that movement and combat goes and stuff like that. It also has a really cool story and time travel.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. We all ready? All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh no, slow load. Oh no. No. All right, we're good.
So Corundum's going to be running the any percent glitched route, or just any percent, not the no major glitches route, which is going to be pretty interesting because I run the no major glitches category, and I haven't run it in a while, so my commentary might be a little off.
That's okay. My commentary is also going to be off, so we're fine. I'm already pausing when I don't mean to.
So
we're off to a great start. Oh god.
The difference between the glitched and no major glitches category is pretty much that you're going to see Corundum glitch through a couple walls to skip some major segments of the game. So right now he's making sure to kill some of these enemies. To get the experience, you need to get, I believe, to level 2, or is it level 3 before the first boss for the faster kill?
You want to get to level 2 for the faster kill, but I'm also going to be doing a couple extra kills just for marathon safety.
Okay. So you start out, basically you get 3 orbs that you have. You can see the 2 are the attack orbs, and then the third one is your charge attack. And so right now the charge attack is just a that charge up, and then the multiple beams, which uses the blue mana in the top left. And you can see some of the platforming here is pretty tight. You have to be pretty precise if you want to go quickly. Trying not to... Climbing up is very difficult. Mm-hmm. So this is the Timespinner wheel. It's one of the pieces of story, basically, and it gives you the ability to stop time, and you can see it was used there to avoid those enemies. You have sand in the top left, and you can see it's basically Ice Beam from Super Metroid. You freeze the enemies, and they stay put. And it's also used for like platforms like here, because that platform would fall. Oh. And it's a major mechanic. And actually, what's really funny is, oh wow, lucky drop.
Oh yeah, look at that, cool.
It's a major mechanic of the game to freeze the time, but during boss fights, it's actually optimal not to freeze time because you're wasting time that you could be hitting the boss. And you pretty much are going to be freezing time just to dodge.
There are a couple changes to that, depending on which boss fight you're in. I should be good here, actually. I don't need to do any of these kills. There we go. So basically, depending on which boss fight you're in, you may want to freeze time, specifically in one of the later bosses, Genza, just because you're using the blade orb instead of the blue orb, which we're about to pick up during this fight if we get a good pattern. So far, we're good.
Holding down there allows Corundum not to get knocked back when that block hit him.
This is an insanely good boss pattern right now. Oh.
Yeah, this is good. This is very good. So this boss, you pretty much have to freeze time.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was some of the best luck I've ever seen. Normally, that boss will start walking towards you, and when that happens, you have to freeze time to jump over the boss, so that way you don't take damage jumping over it. And then it jumps up into the sky, and it wastes a whole bunch of time.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you get a kill while it's in the middle of that animation, because it will complete the jumping up animation before it actually dies.
Another thing to note is that at the end of the boss, you saw Corundum pause and not just go straight to the door. The reason for this is because after you kill the boss, the sands from the boss come to you, and that refills your mana and your health all the way. And it's usually, am I good on health, or am I going to a save point? So that's a collectible. It tells a bit of the story, and you can go into the menu to read what it says. But we pick it up because it gives you 250 entropy, which is basically just money.
That's unfortunate. We'll be fine though. This is a backup strat.
Yeah, and here you can see, using time to freeze the enemies in place to get you to where you need to go, which is very, very useful for some skips in the game.
Mm-hmm. There's also, if you look at high-level speedruns of this game, there's a mechanic called the Risky Dash, which you have a backdash ability that looks like this. If you jump in the middle of that and do melee attacks at the same time, you keep your momentum from the backdash. And you can use that to cross pretty wide gaps and things like that. It's pretty precise, though, and I'm not good at it, so I don't try and waste my time doing it all the time.
Also, this is the best music in the game. That crow... Yeah, we're not going to hear that except for one other shop, I believe, if you take it. That crow sells items and also travels through time. So there we picked up the scythe, ring, and blade. I'm sorry, there are 4 orbs. One you get passive in addition to the charge and 2 orbs. So he's equipping them both right now. So the colossal blade literally just brings up this massive blade that swings across the screen. And then you can see the scythe ring gives the orbs these little blades, and if they touch anything, they hit for a little bit more. And because these blue orbs, you just bash the enemies with them, they hit for a little bit extra when they do that. Timespinner actually has a really complicated damage element mechanic, and the blades are nice because they give you slashing damage on top of your bashing damage. So now you have an attack that does both of those, which means that you're less likely to come across an enemy that's, say, resistant to bashing, which is nice.
I'm going to do a couple extra enemy kills just to get a higher level for this next boss fight.
That was lucky.
Yeah, that was.
That was really lucky.
Come on. I'm going to pick up the security vest just to be safe, because I like not dying. It's generally a good idea.
So strategic placement of your giant blades for experience are really important in the speedrun, obviously for going fast. And you're going to see that coming up on when Corundum gets to the floor underneath of this. There's a bunch of these weird, like, eye crab things. They're really gross.
They're really gross.
And if he's lucky, he's going to be able to hit all of them all at the same time.
It's the next one.
Oh, it's the next one. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And clear out the whole room in one giant blade.
I'm going to do a little bit of manipulation on these guys. Do I get a wristband? I do. That's free damage. Only 3. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about it.
And there you can see using a bit of the backswing to get some extra enemies. It's generally not worth it just to stick around and fight, one enemy just for a little bit of experience. So the experience, like, it takes a while just to kill one small enemy, so it's really important not to waste your mana. And the levels are really important in the speedrun. Casually, they don't matter as much because you have a lot of them, but in the speedrun, one extra level means a whole lot to you.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to be grabbing, I think, 2 extra levels for the speedrun just for safety. Sometimes you'll conserve your vertical momentum during a animation like that. Sometimes you don't. That time we didn't get lucky.
Another mechanic of the game that we're not going to see too much of is orb level. As you kill things with your orbs, they get stronger, and the orbs level up independently of you, which is nice, but we won't see that too much in the speedrun because it only increases damage by a very small amount and takes a lot of kills.
That room that I just entered and then exited is a warp point, so in addition to being able to travel through time, we're also going to be able to teleport, and I would need to unlock that for much later in the run.
Another thing you might have seen Corundum doing is on these large 45-degree angle slopes, or any other sharp-looking slopes, is he's going to try and jump over them for speed, and that's because you slow down.
That's unfortunate.
You slow down as you walk up and down these slopes. Smaller slopes you actually don't, but just the big ones. So, you'll be jumping over those.
I'm going to try and get a kill right here. I was really hoping to level up there. We should be fine.
Corundum's coming up to a boss. I like to call this boss, oh my goodness, what is this hitbox? That is not a real hitbox. That makes no sense. That's the full name. because this boss's hitbox is really weird, and I honestly don't see how it works. You can see there he was in the hitbox, or in the sprite, but not hit, and there's other times when he will not be in the sprite and get hit. So
it's a good time. It's not a good time.
So you generally just want to keep your distance, and here you can see
that was terrible.
yeah, so the enemies are immune to damage when time is frozen, and he accidentally mistimed his blade. So he's just trying to do good damage here. You can double hit.
I'm going to probably heal here.
You can double hit with your orbs if you are close enough, but it's risky. But it's very, very useful on some... there's a stationary boss that's really susceptible to that. So it's just a matter of fighting the boss well in the speed run. Just, try not to get hit the boss. And this boss is a real endurance run for that.
Let's see. That was almost really bad. I'm going to heal just to be safe. There we go. Yep, and that's why, because I would have died there. There we go.
Nice.
Took a little bit longer than expected, but we didn't die, so that's good.
So at this point in the story, the main character, Linnaeus, is collecting pieces of the Timespinner, which is the device that sent her through time that was completely unintended. And so she's trying to get the Timespinner to basically alter time. We also just got our favorite familiar. I don't remember his name, but he's super adorable and we love him.
Or Milsef, something like that.
It's been a while since we've paid attention to the story.
Yeah. It's such a good game, though. You definitely need to play it. Another wristband. Awesome. That's basically free damage. If we had died at any point before finishing that boss fight, we would have met Misef early.
He actually gives you two-player mode. You can have a character control him or any other familiars that you get.
I did not know that.
Yep. But it's not that interesting because he doesn't do a whole lot. He can attack and do a fire breath attack, but yeah, you can have a second player control him. There's no separate category for it though because it's very, very minimal in the speedrun. So during that cutscene, the screen fades in from black, and Corundum went to that shopkeeper and bought some stuff and started opening the menu during the cutscene, which just saves a very small amount of time. And Corundum remembered to open up the warp point.
I've definitely forgotten to do that many times.
Yeah, that's an easy way to lose runs, is to forget going to the warp point door. This game has all original music. I forget by who it's by. I can use words.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So I really hope you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very good. Let's see if we get this first try. This is a really cool jump to get first try.
Hey, we got it.
It's pretty tight because normally you want to sit there and wait, but if you do it fast, you can just run up and then freeze time as you're in the air instead of before you jump, and it saves a bit of time. If you're new to speedrunning, that's a common thing, is a trick that saves a very small amount of time and costs you a lot of time if you mess it up. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to get consistent at those kinds of things. This is the second best song after the shop song. Mostly because it has a flute.
Oh, a little bit biased. Really quick kill. That's a mini boss.
It's not even really much of a boss. It's just the same as the other enemies. So here you have to use the time stop to do a little bit more platforming.
Luckily, I didn't mess that jump up, which I was doing a lot in the little bit of practice that I got before this run.
Also, I noticed you're skipping the safety save.
I should be fine.
Oh, you know what? There's the save right before the next boss. What am I talking about?
I don't need that save. I don't think I'll die to the mostly stationary enemies.
They're only stationary if you pause them. Okay, that one was stationary. You got me there. You really got me there. So yeah, we're pretty much just walking to the next boss. The next boss after we kill it is going to give us the warping technology, and we're going to be able to travel through time and space, which is really cool.
I'm also really bad at this boss fight, so if I die, well, I warned you.
This boss is very difficult. Did you just do the bleak ring?
Yes.
Okay. So the bleak ring is a ring that the more you hit...
I'm a little too close. Yep.
The more you...
All right, I'm just going to take a death here.
When you have the bleak ring equipped, the more times you hit in a row, the more damage you do, up to, I think it's double?
Yes.
And then you take double damage as well. And if you stop hitting for a while, it goes back down. And in the speedrun, it is very, very useful and very important because you can see the damage here is starting to stack up. Instead of dealing 5, now we're doing 8 per hit. And you know, that's really important. Double damage is really nice. So this boss is a real tough challenge when you first learn the speedrun because it can kill you very easily. Oh, wow, nice. Good job with that.
So we're doing this to keep the Azure Queen in this animation for a little while longer. Boom.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was really good.
There we go. Awesome. I'm gonna grab this warp shard.
The Azure Queen there can knock you out of there, and it just deals a ton of damage if you mess that up.
I should also mention that the positioning that I messed up the first time, and the reason why I took the intentional death, is because there's a very small section where you won't get hit. I went to the wrong warp point. There we go. So there's a 1 or 2 pixel wide area that you can be in where you don't get thrown against the wall during those 2 blue pillars. And I missed it the first time because I was a little too far to the left, and I hit the Azure Queen's hitbox.
Yeah, that boss is really just a mess of very difficult things. Especially because it's the first boss you turn the bleak ring on. It's the first one you have the bleak ring actually available, which means that it's extra dangerous.
Jump across this water. Almost got perfect jumps there. It saves almost no time, but I still like doing it.
Those are the best strats.
Running.
Oh, you don't pick up the money there.
Don't need it. I'm already going to have enough for 8 potions, so unless I really screw up, it should be fine.
Once again, another difference between the no major glitches and any % route. We pick up that money, I believe, because we need another warp shard.
I also need 1 more warp shard, but I'm going to have enough once I sell some items.
That rock will always hit you unless you pause time.
It's really annoying
if you forget about it. So the rest of this until the next boss is just good movement, honestly. You know, when he's jumping up, he's going to try and land as early as possible, not extend his jump further than need be, and jump over slopes and not have to walk backwards. Make sure not to waste sands as as possible.
So that hammer doesn't actually have any collision, so it looks like I should have gotten hit there, but as long as you're outside of the body, you're fine. Coming up on a secret mini-boss here.
So if you're playing this casually, there's a ton more stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
Like there's secrets and stuff hidden in walls and items and.
All right, here's the secret mini boss. We got it. Didn't have to do the ledge grab.
I didn't know you could do that. That's really incredible.
Oh.
That's really incredible.
So
I believe that very much. These guys used to be a huge piece of RNG in the speedrun, these sorcerers, because they would drop their robes and hats with RNG, and the developers actually made the speedrun mode that just gives them to you.
Guaranteed drops now. It's so nice.
Yeah, because those for world records would make or break the run because they enhance your, I forget the stat, but it increases your damage.
Just your raw damage, I think. Going to do a safety save here because it is very possible for me to die in this next fight.
This is upcoming as one of my favorite bosses of the speedrun. It's a stationary boss for the most part. It's weak to bashing, which is the only useful orb we have at this point. And we have the Bleak Ring, which works really well with a stationary boss. And it looks really awesome.
Almost got it. There we go.
I mean, there's not much to say. Just enjoy this fight.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Just doing some bashing.
You can see
for good patterns.
The double hits were going on there.
There's a way to skip all of these saw blade attacks, but I don't know how to do it.
You can see the numbers are slightly orangish red, and that's because the enemy is weak to that type of damage, which is why we're doing so much.
And it's also resistant to the blade damage, if I remember correctly.
Nice.
Clean fight.
Nicely done. So this boss gives us a really important item, double jump.
Just like that.
Corundum's health was really good there, which is why he skipped the health refill, which just saves a couple seconds waiting for that sand to get to him.
You just saw something there for a short moment. If you get hit while you're in midair, it actually knocks you horizontally, whereas if you're standing on the ground, you just stay in place. That's going to be a possible annoyance in the future when we're doing a skip coming up after this boss.
Now that we have double jump, all the bosses become considerably more difficult.
Wait, this is the correct way. There we go.
They all are smaller usually and harder to hit and fly around, as opposed to just being big and sitting put. I don't believe any of them are as technical as the Azure Queen, but they are in general very, very difficult.
I would argue that Ayla, if you want to do a very quick kill, is more technical. You don't need to be like super tight positioning, but just optimal attacking, optimal time freezing.
Yeah, she's a boss that I have a lot of trouble with in the any percent no major glitches route.
Let's see, we're gonna buy one more warp shard and as many potions as we can get. And because I didn't use a potion that I got earlier, got full potions now. I should be fine on sand. Oh, a little early there. Let's get some more sand.
So this trick that Corundum's trying to do is very difficult. Basically, you have to lure this projectile into place and then freeze it and jump onto it. And it skips a whole section of this place and saves a bunch of time and saves you from walking around a lot. It's pretty essential for getting a good time in the speedrun. And it was really great that it came around on like second or third try.
I very frequently forget to pick up these items, so they do a lot for your damage output. There we go. All good. Take a safety save, because I definitely need it.
Yeah, this boss is very, very hard.
Secret boss number 2. Oh, facing the wrong direction. Don't worry about it.
One of the reasons that this boss is very hard is you'll see that she throws these energy discs at you, And those energy discs do have a hitbox behind her, which is usually the place that you're hitting her from. So unless you're preparing for her to do that, you're going to get hit if you're standing behind her. It's a very, very difficult challenge. To remain focused and say, oh, I know what attack is coming next, and focus on double jumping and getting the inputs to bash rapidly.
That was unfortunate. Ooh, that was really bad. Let's heal.
And especially with, few defensive items, no extra health from leveling up, and extra damage from the Bleak Ring, which in this fight you can see it's very difficult to keep the Bleak Ring actually up and charged, as damage keeps going up, and then it'll go down if Corundum doesn't have a good opportunity to attack. This is a good spot to attack, though, because she sits in place and you can just mash the button.
Oh, that was really bad.
And there's the backswing that's very hard to predict. In boss fights, you might be wondering, how are we not running out of time? In boss fights, you gain sand from hitting the boss, which basically means as long as you keep fighting, you'll never run out of sand. I say as you run out of sand.
What the heck? That was weird.
Don't get hit.
Oh, that was so close.
That was very close.
What am I doing? There we go. I'm going to take this health. All right. Now we need to use a warp shard. And we're good. Jump to here. So now we're coming up on the main skip of the all glitches category, which is called Maw Skip. And this is why I asked for Kamaru to be sitting here with me and helping me commentate, because I'm going to be sitting and jumping at a wall for potentially up to like 2 minutes if it takes me a while to get this trick. So buckle up.
Unfortunately, I didn't prepare any jokes, but I can look some up online if you'd like.
Sure, why not?
The hitboxes in this game can be a little wonky, as they are in most games that involve dynamically positioned things. So, like, pretty much, like, every Metroid game that has Ice Beam involves some weird thing with being able to, put the enemies in a position, and that carries over to something like this. Being able to freeze enemies in place does weird things, and one of them is you can push yourself through the floor with some very specific setups, and this is going to be used to skip a whole lot of stuff. Just a ginormous amount of content that we're going to be skipping, all for the sake of going faster.
And also not spoiling the game for everybody in our lovely audience. Please play this game, it's so good.
It really is.
All right, here we go.
The skip is coming up here. Corundum has to lure this frog over.
You messed up the alignment. All right.
And align himself into a very particular spot. And then freeze time at a very particular spot.
I think this is off. Yep, that's okay.
And in doing so, basically it pushes you through the floor downwards, because you can't be inside the hitbox of the frozen enemy at the same time in the floor. You like expand your hitbox.
Perfect.
Wow.
Second try.
That was amazing. That trick can take a ton of times.
So I have been 3 minutes ahead on a PB and finished 3 minutes behind, just jumping at that wall over and over. I don't need to take that save, but I'm going to do it.
This is one of the hardest bosses in the game.
Yep.
It really takes a whole lot of skill to fight this boss. Mm-hmm. And you'll see it. Look very intensely at what's going on here.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty well. How's the speedrun going?
I don't know. I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I think we're doing decent on time. Oh, yeah, we're sub 30 right now?
Well, I mean, you got the Maw Skip in, what, two tries? That's incredible.
If this is a PB, I'm going to laugh so hard.
The only attack that can hit you in this boss is that attack that just hit. And you have enough health to get hit twice. And you can see through RNG, you only got hit once.
Hardest fight in the game right there. All right, now we want to use a warp shard.
Also, you get the heal automatically from that boss, so it doesn't matter how much damage you take.
All right, now we are going to the last two bosses. So basically, all of the bosses that we just fought were unlocking, doing changes to the past in order to unlock a giant gate. And once you destroy all the bosses, rather than the gate being unlocked, it's just smashed by an airship. And now we're going to be able to do the second major skip of the game, which is laser skip.
This place has really cool platforming. Also, it's very futuristic. You can tell that we're in the future, but they're basically the same enemies. Like, instead of archers, there's snipers, which are stronger counterparts of archers.
I'm going to take the extra damage just to be safe.
My favorite orb is up top there. It's the gun orb. It's not very effective,
It's
but it's
so
my
bad.
favorite.
Gorb!
It's
The Gorb.
It has the smoothest animation of all the orbs, which is why I love it. Also, its charge attack is broken.
Yes.
Right now, we're on blorbs.
Blorbs.
Blue orbs. Or,
I guess the blue orbs and the blade orbs are both blorbs.
I guess this one would be blorbs then, because they're bashing
Oh,
orbs.
God. Totally meant to fall down there. Don't worry about it. All right. So, here's laser skip. To explain how this works, I'm going to do a backdash, a crouch, and a melee attack all at the same time. If the orbs don't... if I don't throw out an orb, but I hear the audio for an orb being thrown out, that means that I've gotten it, and it allows us to just... Oh,
So the item that Corundum just picked up is the super dash item.
that's unfortunate.
And I honestly don't remember what the actual super dash is called, but you'll see why it's called super dashing.
Oh, wow, that was really
once-
unfortunate.
Once he gets out of here.
Wow. So you end up bouncing into this thing on your way out, and I'm just getting really unlucky with where it's deciding to throw me. All right, come on.
Walls are
I'm gonna
weird.
take this. Yeah.
Walls are just a suggestion.
I sure would like to jump out of here. Thank you. There we go. And one more of these. Come on. You have to get pretty decently close to the wall in order to get the jump. And every single time you hit the laser, it resets your position. And you have to do it again. There we go.
Nice.
Took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but that's fine.
The super dash is required to complete the game because it makes some jumps possible that otherwise aren't, and there aren't enemies that you can freeze there.
I'm gonna grab some extra just to be safe, in case I miss this jump.
Also, it makes platforming a lot more fun.
Okay, gonna swap to the blade orbs here.
This boss is a whole lot of fun. This boss is called Not Mom because it looks like Linnaeus' mom, but it's not. So it's Not Mom. And Not Mom is weak to blade attacks as well as some other ones, but the only one we have right now is the Blade Orb. In the no major glitches category, we actually have a much better bladed weapon, so I'm interested to see this fight because I haven't yet. Without the eye orbs.
That was unfortunate. Luckily, we're still doing well on time.
But this boss's attacks are really fun to learn and to dodge quickly. Basically, you want to put the boss in a position.
Heal here because I'm going to take some damage.
You want to put the boss
There
in
we
a
go.
good position to make sure that you're hitting them.
Gonna take the health. There we go. So now we are coming up to the final boss. But before we do that, we have one more annoying jump. Gonna
It's
take
the
this
real
safety
final
save.
boss is coming
Yeah,
up.
blue demon skip. It's really annoying.
Just have to get this blue demon right here to cooperate.
We're gonna reset his position because I've practiced it more with him starting from the bottom.
This demon likes to swivel back and forth, like to the left and
that's
right
good.
underneath of you. So you have to try and get him to go to the right, so that way he doesn't go get
dang.
stuck in the wall.
I'm gonna grab this. Should be fine. Yep.
Which is why Corundum is jumping back over here, so he doesn't go too far left before he comes up. And you can see his movement is not exactly,
That's unfortunate.
you know, in a straight line or anything like that. He's very hard to manipulate.
So he won't attack as long as you stay behind the direction that he's facing. All right, I'm gonna try
Try
it.
for the super dash.
Yes,
Nice,
got it.
Nice.
Whew. I would have had to wait a much longer time if I had not gotten that properly. I just realized that I don't have enough sand to do the skips here, so I'm going to grab some extra sand right here just to be safe.
You can see that the you might have been seeing this. It's a common thing in Soten games is that he's jumping before attacking for like those candles, and it's just your horizontal speed is not interrupted while you're moving while doing that. I realize it's a little late in the commentary to be mentioning that right before the last boss, but that was something you could have kept an eye out for. And this is the last boss. His hitbox is mean.
Oh, that's unfortunate. What am I doing?
This boss's attacks are in a complete pattern, which makes them very easy to predict. But that attack right there, right here, just has a random chance of just hitting you, even if you're ducked behind it.
It has a terrible hitbox, and I'm expecting to die at least once to really bad hitboxes.
But yeah, his attacks are in a complete pattern, but they're also extremely well telegraphed because he uses orbs just like you do. And they're the same orbs that you can get throughout the game. Like, he just used the giant blade attack that we've been using this whole time.
Please do not hit me here. Oh, we're good. Okay. That's where I was expecting to die.
Yeah, that attack has killed some speedruns, for me at least.
Oh, that's not good. That's a lot of damage. I should probably heal here. I'm going to do that just to be safe. I've got the health. I might as well use it. I have no sand. That's a little scary. There we go.
And,
Not quite time.
time will be coming up when he chooses whether
Trying to
to
get it.
stay or leave.
There we
which
go.
is
Time. What was that? 37:37? That's a really good time. Whew. So yeah, thank you so much for helping me.
Yeah, thank you. If you play this casually, I highly recommend playing it casually. This was the bad ending, so if you do all this stuff, there are more endings and there's more content to do than what we've just shown you. This is just the fastest way to any ending.
There's technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 endings? I think 6 endings. So there's a lot of replay value depending on how many of the optional quests you end up doing. I don't think there's anything that we skipped that is like otherwise required, except for one item. So yeah, this is a really cool game. I recommend anybody play it. It is, I think, what, $15 on Steam?
Yeah, it's pretty cheap, but it's very good.
And there's a lot of really interesting characters, really great representation. It's a fun game. Play it. That's all I got. Bye.